Family, what's good? It's your boy Litebody back again with another edition of the Litebod Pod. Fam, super keen. We have our special guest on the show, Mr. Illuminative himself. I know you've probably seen some of my reactions to his music here on the channel, and a friend of the show indeed, and it's an honor to finally get to speak to this uh talented, critical, analytical, activist musician. Hey, what more can I say? But I'm gonna do less of the talking since this is an interview, and I'd like to introduce our guest, Illuminative. How are you doing, my G?
Hey, Triple Two. I'm pretty good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. I'm great, thanks, man. Really, really happy to finally get a chat to you. So many things to unpack, and so much to draw from your music. So I feel like this is going to be a real good conversation where we'll be able to engage and get to poke your brain, and the supporters as well as audiences can get to understand who Illuminative is. So with that being said,
It's
first question of the day: who is Illuminative? Am I saying it correctly? Because I've been saying I don't know if you remember, like the first couple of reactions I did, I was like Illuminative, and then afterwards I was like, maybe I should
yeah,
tweak that. It
that
was like,
you know,
so question of the day,
that's the
first
great
one:
thing about the name.
who is Illuminative?
All right, I formulated that name quite a few years ago as I went through like spiritual awakening and enlightenment was part of that. So I wanted an artist name that represented what I was going to become, and what I've become is more woke, more awakened, and
Mm-hmm.
I've been on that journey for quite a long time now. So I just wanted a good artist name, which was spelled a little different to the real spelling to be original as well.
Mm-hmm.
And when you break it down, it's really iLUMiNATiVE. So people say it differently. That's the good thing about it. You can say it like two or three different ways.
Mm.
Illuminative, illuminative, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Oh, that's awesome.
illuminative. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, it's got kind of three ways to say it. So
Oh.
three being, the Trinity as well, like body, mind, spirit. So it connects to that as well. So obviously my messages under that name are going to be higher self-based and
Mm.
trying to channel a higher consciousness for that writing as well.
Whew, that is so deep. Oh, a lot to draw from that one. So tell me about your start with music, your journey. How did it come about? What are your earliest music memories?
Earliest memories is traveling around my country with my father, actually, just, DJing music for my dad as he was driving long distances and I was in the passenger seat just putting music on, and from there I went to school and I did music at school. I loved all types of music. Then after school I actually got on the road and toured for a professional sport, surfing, and that took me around the world on and off for like 7 years after school.
Wow.
So music was a massive part of traveling, being at airports, and motivating my sport, like before going in to compete and stuff like that. So yeah, it's music's always been there for me. It's I call it like my one of my wives, and I do have a partner, but I talk about kind of having an affair with my music while I have a relationship as well. So,
what sort
but
of music were
music's
you
always
listening
been
to
there.
during those early days? Like, which sort of artists were you sort of keeping on rotation during those travels, etc.?
The first time I went to Europe and I was traveling on a worldwide ticket, like they used to be like $2,500. I was listening to a lot of Snoop Dogg when I was 19 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the first kind of hip hop artist I really resonated with, and just with the beats and Dr. Dre beats, and his Snoop Dogg back in the day had the production from people like Dre too. So
Mm.
I really liked the backing music as well as the rapping. And so it went from Snoop Dogg to the whole crew, Exhibit, Eminem, Dr. Dre, etc. The Dog
Yeah.
Pound album was one of the first albums I listened to from Snoop Dogg.
Sort of that second generation
And
of hip hop, based in LA, the earlier,
yeah, both
yeah.
sides. Yeah, different periods of my life. Like I got into East or West Side music. Went to California and Los Angeles quite a few times, so I resonated with some of the places I was going to. I've been to South Africa as well. I went to Durban,
Oh,
and I was
awesome.
just carrying music like all the hip hop and any kind of music I liked. Sometimes pop music or R&B, just to chill from listening to rap music. So, but still into artists like new rappers as well as like the old school rappers. So I think these days I'm still kind of following everybody and listening to everything. So
Yeah. Awesome, man.
artists like yeah.
So, take me through your journey as you were continuing. So, you were listening to the likes of Snoop Dogg, Exhibit, Eminem on your travel sessions, and then from there, how did you progress into you actually being the one behind the mic, or you being the one creating the
Okay,
music?
yeah. I was always interested in like creative writing before traveling, and then during traveling, I started to use it as like a diary or journal and just kind of therapy.
Mm,
And I got really addicted to writing rhymes and just trying to rhyme as much as possible. Um, Naturally, listening to those artists, you want to try your hand at writing rhymes, and so I just got really passionate about just writing at first.
yeah,
And so I wrote pages and books of just rhymes. And then one day I got the opportunity to put those rhymes to a backing track that went for an audition at a studio close by to where I live and tried out for an audition, and it was for a singing song, but I got the role, won the position to get like a free recording. And so it started from there, and I recorded my first song probably in 2005 now. So it's been 17 years since I recorded my first song. Mm.
oh, that's really awesome. Flip. Oh, that means you've got a lot of experience. That means you've got the advantage of also having lived enough for you to tell like really really vivid or really really insightful stories within your music. I notice you're very very lyrical as well. Like you really do pay attention to that lyricism aspect, and you also pay attention to what you say. And speaking of what you say, oh, it's time to get real deep now. Uh, you notice you unpacking a lot of social political topics within your music. Where does that sort of stem from, and what's your overall message? So first of all, where does it stem from? How did you able to, or you mentioned that you had your spiritual awakening, so is that alongside with your purpose, or like what's the, like, where does it stem from? And then lastly,
Well,
yeah.
being a big fan of music and a big fan of hip hop in general, you've always had the political side of rap. Like most of the best artists in the world have always been political, lyrical and political in a sense. So I
Mm,
wanted to be spiritual, political, and literal, lyrical. So when it comes to having a purpose and a message, I listen to some artists who really have found their purpose, and you can tell by the messages and the meaning in their songs. And so with the songwriting, like being a singer songwriter, I believe that helped bring kind of more message into my music. But being a rapper brings the lyricism, and I love writing and rhyming, so that helps as well. But it stems from experiences as well with, you know, world government as well as Australia's government, which is part of the world government as well, and experiencing the last, especially the last couple of years. Like people have been through a lot in this country and in the world,
Hmm.
and it's been a problem that's been created, I believe, like David Icke talks about, like Illuminati or government, world government, they create a problem solution. It's the classic form of control. So I've experienced that as well as seen that
Hmm.
because I my spiritual awakening in a sense makes me streetwise to what's also happening in the world in a sense, not just my own personal life, but look out and then see the same kind of franchise happening worldwide. Like, and it happens when you travel the world and see the same rules or laws in every country, like the
Yeah.
airports or you go to a McDonald's in different countries, even though I don't eat McDonald's. You go to McDonald's and the franchise is set up almost identical worldwide. So I view politics and the world structure and how the world is controlled like that. It's a worldwide distributed franchise, and whatever they're trying to sell us, like the new 9/11 or the new pandemic in a sense,
Oh,
they're all always creating a problem, offering a solution at the end of it. So,
so sort of a form
and
an
I
agenda
do,
for control.
that's right, because it's a business. I,
Mm.
at the end of the day, it's about not just power and control, but it's about money and you need to control the masses, the minds of the people to put their money into your wallet, in a sense. So just like the classic quote on Wolf of Wall Street, how he was coached to almost manipulate people into investing in the stocks, and then they were not going to make any money, but he was going to profit and moving their money to your wallet in a sense. So
Yeah, I get that analogy. I get
yeah,
it. Uh, I noticed you got some pretty unique ornaments over there at your background, and I
yeah,
recognized one of them. Definitely a staple within your recent imagery, your music videos for your recent EP. Talk to me
yeah,
first
that's
of
right.
all.
That's the shapeshifter.
That's the shapeshifter. Yeah, we're gonna touch on that shortly, but just wanted to get your like get into a conversation about your project. Tell me what does shapeshifter mean to you, and what is your creative process for this album?
Well, to go back in time before that, I generally was doing hip hop albums that were kind of crossover genres, but I wanted to do a new metal rap project in a sense because I was really pissed off with everything going on in Australia, like with the control, all the masks and mandatory rules and stuff that they're putting on people. So I feel I got to a point where it brought that human beast out of me. Like I started to get just, like the majority are all controlled. They're all sheep. They're just all following what government are doing, and I
Mm,
just want to stay enlightened, stay free, stay empowered, self-respect. And so, Shapeshifter was an outlet for me to not create another character, but that is me. But that the world's making me shapeshift into this kind of beastly character. So, as a result of what they put out is what they're getting back from me in a sense. So, uh, like they say, what you put out is what you get back.
hmm.
And so, I'm a result of what everything that's been happening the last couple of years is actually been a lot of positives come out of it, and one of them is finding this. So being able to like I never wear a mask. I never wore a mask during the whole pandemic, but I did wear these masks for my movies and for my music. as
Mm-hmm.
a way of kind of having a mask awakening. That was my mask for the whole 2.5 years.
Awesome. So,
So I
is
feel like I'm going to keep this mask for the next project as well, and I'm going to introduce this one. So this is an
right.
extraterrestrial mask I got from England, and the shapeshifter is from America. So that was custom ordered to fit my head.
Oh,
But
uh,
yeah, Shapeshifter is just 5 songs to introduce the new metal, the aggression and the political aggression and the energy, just as a character as well. But it's also who I am.
oh, that's a real detailed description. And finally, I get to see what it actually means and like what your message is overall, with the choice of imagery as well.
Yeah,
And speaking of,
yeah, I'm shape shifting into a reptilian.
absolutely. Speaking of extraterrestrials and reptilians and all of these imageries that you've been showing up, that have been showing up within your music. Do you care to go deeper into that? What
Yeah,
does
sure.
reptilian mean to you? And I notice there's also gray as well. I think that might be a gray extraterrestrial entity on your left
Yeah,
side.
yeah. With
So,
human pink skin,
uh
yeah.
is there a sort of resonance deep within you, the reason why you made these choices, or um, do you feel like you have a relationship with
Yeah,
these sort of aspects?
yeah. Every spiritual awakening I've ever had since I was around 22 years old, I've had quite a few different awakenings at different times in my life. And one of the first awakenings I had, it was very spiritual and angelic, but then you had the other side of it, which was like the paranormal side of it. So every time I had an awakening, I was experiencing this enlightenment with the divine love, like with God, people say. So yeah, the reptilian, like you've said in one of your reviews, you said that I'm be a direct descendant. So actually, one of my numerology numbers, connects to that as well, like direct descendant from the Kundalini in a sense, like the snake serpent energy in a sense. So it all connects back to like reptilians and Kundalini rising and stuff like that. So when it comes down to it, it's hard to prove that reptilians exist physically unless you have classified military evidence.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the astral realm goes, like you call yourself light body, like the light bodies, like the Buddha body or the astral projection body in a sense. So
Mm-hmm.
I had a situation where I had like a out of body experience when I was dreaming one night, and I went to another place, another country, and I felt like I was in America actually. And I was driving around, and this is in the dream.
Mm-hmm.
And I park at this house, and I go up to this house. It's a 3-story house, and they've got like massive security there and everything. And I had to ask permission to enter the house. So big bodyguard lets me in. So I go upstairs. Each level has a security guard, so I have to kind of get permission each time. And I get to the third floor, and I walk into the room, and there's these guys in a circle, like almost like they're gonna do a ritual or something. And
Mm-hmm.
they all turn around and look at me, and I said, "What's going on, guys?" They said, "Do you want us to show you?" And I said, I didn't even say anything, but it was like a yes. And then they started shape shifting. So they went
Oh.
slowly from human to reptilian. And then I felt it happening to me because I was in the presence of that ritual. And then
Mm-hmm.
I found a mirror, and I looked in the mirror, and my forehead was shape shifting. Like the spikes started coming out of my forehead here.
Mm.
And so I was kind of like, what is this? What is this? But then I woke up in bed. You know, when you wake up from an experience like that, you hear something kind of leave your room in a sense as well, like invisible man in a sense. Like that's what they call reptilians sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I felt I had an experience with the occult, where people doing a ritual who were shapeshifters, and I just went online after that and started researching, trying to find did anyone else have these experiences. And that's when I was led to obviously David Icke talking all about reptilians. So
Yeah.
I just resonated with that subject right after that experience. So, but I've had other experiences physically as well, not just in the dream realm, where I used to go to my grandmother's house every year when she lived in Spain. And I was terrified going there because it was like a paranormal house in a sense. Like there was, you know, souls there who had passed on, as well as probably entities as well. So what you find that you experience a lot of interferences from these things,
Mm.
whether it's these entities or spirit guides or so these days I'm just looking at the whole reptilian entity thing as like a spirit guide for me, or an entity guide which is interdimensional in a sense. So uh, my partner and I have been together for probably more than 12 years now. And for 12 years, we've had activity happening in our kitchen
Mm.
in two different places. And it comes through the refrigerator. It makes a noise like it's talking through the fridge every time.
Holy.
And it's like it's using the electricity to communicate. And so it's just normal for us now. But
Mm.
I've just accepted that there are many dimensions in one space,
Mm.
and there are portals where they can come in and out of our plane of existence in a sense. So I'm not so scared anymore, but in the beginning I was freaking out because it was like, you know, lots of stuff was happening during my spiritual awakening in 2012, 2013. It just was amplified. Like, you know, the type of experiences like telekinesis or just things you don't understand until you get deeper and then experience and then meet these things as well. So for me, it seems to run in the family as well. My brother's been pulled out of a bed by an entity, like couldn't see it but felt it, and it pulled him out of the bed completely. And he
Holy.
was wide awake. And I actually went to the same my grandmother's house. It's where it happened. I went to the same place the next year, and I heard something enter my room, open the door, and then stand next to me, breathing like it was a living entity, but I couldn't see it. It's like we're blind to see these entities, and
A lot
so,
of
but you could feel it and you could hear it. So yeah,
a
so
lot of paranormal activities and oh man. Were you
just
frightened at the
my
time? I'm sure you
yeah,
were, right?
my job and I was like yeah, because I was not conscious, so I had zero understanding about extraterrestrials or zero understanding about entities or spirits. So it's scary when you don't understand anything, but
Absolutely.
it's when you get the experiences and try to process it and understand, you become more comfortable with it. That, you know, psychedelics is like that. They take you into those dimensions where you
Oh.
can mentally experience them, and you can feel these entities, not just see them, but you can feel them and communicate with them. So I
Mm.
think the evidence of other life is not always on the physical plane. It's in the astral
Mm.
realm, and through the dreams, we are much more receptive when we are in a super relaxed state, dreaming, to exit our body to then operate and see them in that space in a sense. So
I resonate
I
with
think
that
we are
on so many
designed,
levels.
yeah, we are designed to be blind in a sense, so we can operate and focus on human life.
Mm,
And so, but once you get taken out of that, where your third eye opens and your third eye awakens, you know, psychics are familiar with this. They can start to see interdimensionally, and that's through meditation, through activation, and through plant medicines, psychedelics. And so, like they say, every time we go to sleep, we release DMT, dimethyltryptamine,
mm.
in our body, in our brain, and we experience the visuals and the afterlife in a sense.
Man,
And you can
illuminative.
experience.
I hate to cut you there, my man. I can literally go in so many different tangents and rabbit holes, ask like probably 100 different questions, just
Sure.
continuing and rippling off of what you had just mentioned and the stories that you've just unpacked. And oh, a real like so like so multifaceted, so interdimensional, multidimensional, so unlimited in so many ways. And I definitely think that we're gonna have to do a part two of this interview, my G. And uh, with that being said, like I wanted to keep the first one concise so that whoever does come into this one, um, the world's attention span has gone down to about like 20 to 20 seconds, depending on who you are, depending on the recipient. Um, so in an effort to keep this one tight knit and hopefully keep them coming back for more, I think we might need to do a part two session where we just dive deeper and we can actually, yeah, as I said, open up a little bit more and uh, yeah, dive deeper into these topics. And with that being said, like, uh, what would you like to leave whoever comes and sees this? What's your final message to them? If you could do this within 1 minute, drop your final lines, and I'll ask the final question after this.
Well, I just recommend that people, to receive the gift, they need to be in the present. That's the common thing that I write about and I say is in the present, you get the gift. Also, in the present is the past, present, and future. So all is accessible in that state, like in that relaxed state, in a sense, to be open and be open-minded to the multi-dimensional being that we are, in a sense. So if you don't get in the present and just stop and be still, you can never access the past, present, and future. You're always just a chicken with its head cut off, in a sense. So, but that's what the agenda is. They want people to lose their attention span, but we need to increase our attention span.
Illuminative. So many different portals, as I mentioned, that we could dive into. But to everyone out there, be sure to subscribe so you can continue to see more of these interviews here at the Light Hub, the Litebod Pod. And final question, Illuminative. What are you working on? What can we expect from Illuminative within the next couple of years? And where do you see yourself within the next year or two within music? Talk about it.
Okay. My next project is called Endangered, and I'm working on that actually this week. And it's going to have 8 tracks on an album. It's
Mm-hmm.
got pretty much every genre. It's got hip hop, rock, new metal. It's got country, rap, like country pop. So it's got a mixed bag, of everything. So it's gonna have all my voices as well, like singing higher and lower, rapping
Hmm.
fast and slower, and then like the growling as well with the scream rapping as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm actually just putting them all together at the moment. So I've written 8 songs recently and recorded 3 of them. So I have 5 more to record this week. And
super
yeah,
keen
I'm
to hear
just
that.
going through the process, recording from home and doing all the vocal pre-mixing myself and do my own recording. And I send the final product over to England to get mastered. And my beats are coming from America as well. So the beat producer's Hollywood legend, and the master is Adam Lewis mixing. And but everything else I do myself, the writing, the recording, mixing, and the movies as well. Like, I'll probably do 8 movies for the album, and I have my drone and my computer, and I just make the movies myself with no help, and just go on my own and do everything on my
That's really
own.
incredible. What does the future look like for you 2 years from now? Short and sweet, where is Illuminative 2 years from now musically?
I'm not really sure. Like, it really depends on the awakening of humanity. It's really hard to break through anywhere, depending on the level of consciousness of people
Mm-hmm.
and the industry. So the industry is tough because it's not really, awakening in a sense. So I feel like a lot of people sleep on people like me. They sleep on the music,
Mm.
and so they don't resonate with it because they're not waking up. So if the majority is asleep or they're controlled by government, they might not have the awareness to actually find my music. So it comes down to like the right people find my music. The, they like to say, your vibe attracts your tribe.
Mm.
So I'm really just trying to put the vibe out to attract my tribe, and my tribe is the minority of people that are going through awakening, and they're waking up. They're going through that process. They're doing the self work, and they are moving towards enlightenment and light rather than being in the dark with the forces that be that control pretty much everybody. But I'm just underground, so I'm just trying to get my message out to people and share some fun music as well as some beautiful music and some intense, aggressive music as well. So with Endangered, I'm really excited about that project because it's crazy, man. Like, it's just that project's gonna be crazy.
Super keen to
I'm
hear
just
that. We'll
I'm
definitely,
just orchestrating my voice. Yeah,
mm, definitely gonna
I'm
be
just
reacting to some
using
of
the
those sounds.
reptilian. I'm
Yeah,
using the reptilian, and I'm gonna use the ET as a rapper as well, like
awesome.
a little bit of fast rapping with the ET mask. And I'm gonna my character is just gonna be like, you know, just a humble kind of hopeless guy, like he's just singing like a singer-songwriter. But the other characters will be, in a sense, the guides who are talking to me in the project. So the perspective is going to be different on the next album because it's going to have my voice like talking to the people, but it's also going to have like a higher self talking to me. It's talking to people, and it's going to have these entities talking to people as well as talking to me. So it's all
Whoa,
kind of teaching.
a
Yeah.
multi-dimensional experience through music. Fam, super keen to hear that, and I'm really keen to see you grow as well. Definitely gonna be keeping in touch, and hopefully we'll get that part 2 locked in. And with that being said, thank you for
Yeah.
pulling up, man. It was real great chatting to you, and I'll leave links
Absolutely.
to all of your socials and your website as well down below. Family, be sure to check that out
Yeah, man.
and subscribe to Illuminative's subscribe to Illuminative's YouTube, and be sure to check out the upcoming project. And with that being said, also I just wanted to note that you mentioned that these entities and these beings tend to have interferences within your experience, and man, oh man, we've had a host of interferences within this one,
Yeah,
and
yeah. Let me say
yeah.
something. Yeah, you're on the right path in the right direction when you've got a lot of things trying to interfere with you.
Hmm.
It's almost like the adjustment guru film with Matt Damon, but with the negative stuff.
Mm.
So it's like you awaken and you're going towards this light and enlightenment and these great things, and then there's all these interferences trying to stop you. So it shows you that the world operates on different frequencies, and some of those frequencies try to interfere with you going further in a sense. So
Oh,
I feel they're the gatekeepers. They call them gatekeepers in esoteric talk,
or
where
some
they
would say
challenge
archons, eh?
you. Yeah, they're there to like protecting the matrix in a sense. So almost so you don't get out of it. So they're also teaching you and challenging you, you know, what is your spirit, what's your will like? Are you going to break through and just go to the next level? And then they can't reach you in a sense. Once you break through, all that negative stuff settles down in a sense. It's like the okay, he's proven his will, his worth. So we're not going to hassle him anymore because he's the real deal. Like he wants to keep moving. So we're not going to keep him there. He's not going to stay there. So that's why I did a song called Ascend Hell.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what you're trying to do is you have to be self-aware of your own frequency. Like what state of being, like I've said in a song, uh, circumstances don't matter, state of being matters. That's a famous quote from like gurus. And it really does. Like what state you're in, what state of mind, of being, emotion, manifest and help create, co-create your experience. And so eventually you can choose to manipulate your own frequency to then see the echo or the response from the mirror of like the matrix. So, there's no escaping all these levels, but really just I just want a positive experience. So I fight to be kind of in utopia, like a state of being which helps me manifest a better experience. So
Man, I don't even think I need to say anything, uh, anything further, man. Like you hit the nail on the head probably 100 times throughout this chat, this conversation. So with that being said, thank you for pulling up to the site where we keep it light. You did what we did. Peace.
triple two, man, triple two.
At the bottom, I wasn't gonna be stuck at the bottom. I gotta make it was my motto. I was ready for the moon like Apollo. I'm trying to be who they follow.